So Game Face Monday, and I want to talk to you and welcome you to the show, first of all. But the most important thing that I have to do is the intro. 1 second, okay?
Sure.
So, Joey, thanks a lot for coming on board. So, Joey, it's really, I mean, it's great that we knew each other for quite some time and I didn't even know about it, right?
Yeah,
I
definitely.
mean,
Here.
you meet people in this business and you really don't know anything. And then I re-saw you again, you refer and TikTok. So that's great. So I want you to talk about that book that you have. That's really amazing. I read a few paragraphs and really, really, I like that.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having me, Richie. A big fan of Game Pace Monday for sure. Yeah, man. I wrote this book. It's called Fed the Store. It's really all about working in the car business. The toll that it takes on you. It's a silent toll, and then the shift that's replacing it. There's a whole different world out there where people, instead of trading time for money, they're learning that they just have to make deals the same they did in the dealership, work for themselves, and have the life that they dreamt of.
And that's so interesting, Joey, because as you know, we're a marketplace, right? So I'm seeing a different type of twist here with brokers. I mean, there are more brokers in the United States than franchise dealers, okay? So, and I want you to tell me a little bit about that. I consider you a friend, right?
For friends, of
So
course.
I got a lot of brokers that are using these leads and all that, and they got a much better conversion and they're selling the cars for more money. So could you explain how that really, I got a broker that delivered last month 265 cars, excuse me? Could you
Amazing,
explain
right?
that to me, how that works?
Yeah, so like the concept of the auto broker is that you're meeting your customer. You know what I mean? The customer that you have is your client. Where, as opposed to working in the dealership or buying a car from the dealership, right? Most of the dealership's business is customer based, meaning that it's transactional. It's one to one. In the broker model, you have a client. That client is with you as a relationship for life, and for life means everybody that they're associated with. A broker is going to be a client base as opposed to the customer that goes to the dealership.
It's really, really the difference between the value of the customer in the new cars, they go to a new car franchise, and the value of going to you. What value do you think that would be to the consumer? And the other question is, why are the consumers going to brokers?
Right. So typically, whenever I encounter somebody that's either heard of a broker or know somebody that's used a broker before, they always have a stellar experience. I mean, if you really check out, most brokers have amazing Google reviews, if not perfect 5-star Google reviews, right? And why is that? It's because they're, the broker model as opposed to the dealer model, right? The dealer model is that, I have this metal that I have to push. I have to push the metal because the dealership, the cars are appreciating. The dealership pays interest on these cars. It's very expensive to run the dealership, and there's a pressure that's associated with it. It's an unspoken pressure, sometimes spoken, but it's an unspoken pressure for the most part, from ownership to management to the salespeople to really just everybody working in the dealership, because everybody working in the dealership is based on some kind of commission. But different than working, with the broker. The broker is not there to push metal. The broker is there to really, service the customer to their needs. And, the way I really describe is that, whenever I worked for the dealership, the only solution that I had for you was whatever I had in stock or whoever I was working for. But, as the broker, I have everybody's solution as a solution to my client's, problem.
What I want to talk about is this. When a customer reaches out to a broker, let's take a perfect example. I sell them the lease, right? It says a 2026 Lexus, right?
Right.
The broker is going to pick up that car. That's the car once they put the deal together, that customer is going to come in. So there's no hassle and no haggle, and there's none of that. As versus they walk into a dealership, they're trying to push them to the oldest car that they have in inventory. They're trying to do all these other things, right?
Yeah.
And not really care about what the customer needs are, right?
I mean, look, like bills come at the end of the month.
You do.
Yeah, bills come at the end of the month. There's a lot of pressure when it comes to running a dealership. I had, people that were telling me, look, the cars are like milk, right? You have to put the oldest one first before the newer ones, so that way, your consumer takes the older one first. I get it. I totally understand. But, in a world where not every customer wants to go to the dealership. Don't forget the dealership model is still, designed around to be as profitable as possible, right? But, with the broker, it's a service business, right? So that service business is just that. It's just nothing more than just a service. You can really just dial in, and there's no pressure from the broker, to push the metal, because there's no metal to push. We're there to be the broker, to be that professional, to complete that transaction, right? For our consumer, for our client, so that way they can have the car even delivered to their house. They never even have to walk into a dealership to begin with. They never have to worry about getting hassled. And then that amazing experience, that birthday, that special occasion that kind of gets bottlenecked at the dealership with a lot of friction. Well, that doesn't have to happen anymore, right? Because now I just want this car. I'm going to get the best deal, and I'm going to get the car delivered to my house. Perfect. Sign me up.
Right. And the beautiful thing that I saw in Instagram, a conversation going on between two dealers. Both of them are pretty much influencer in the automotive space in the tri-state area.
Right.
So they are against the brokerage thing. But here's what you really got to see as a dealer, okay?
Yeah.
Let's say you are against a broker business model, right?
Which a lot are. Yeah.
Tons of them are. You have to think about this, Mr. Dealer. What is there? Do you go with the broker or do you not go with the broker? Because let me tell you, when you go with the broker, right, it's okay. You know why it's okay? Because you're going to you're going to sell your car, right? You're going to increase your travel rate, your allocation, but more important, you're going to start flipping your inventory, because obviously what you're trying to do with the customer is not working as much as it should be, because there is no way in the world how a broker in a tri-state area, right here in New York, tri-state area, delivered 200 plus cars. I think it was 265 or something. And I got the whole daily operating control of them from day one. There is no way. There is a way of that happening, is because the customers are getting tired of that showroom environment with the hassle back and forth. And I came in for this car. I don't want that car.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely.
The broker is servicing to you, the customer. And now I'm going to flip the coin in fix ops. It's the same thing as you wholesaling parts. You're going to lose your service business. Here, what's interesting is you're going to deliver a car. You're going to still have your service business.
Yeah.
That's obvious. You're going to have your service business. So I want you to really think, and what is that new thing now that there's like something where you said it before and I didn't really register it. I want you to say to the live audience that you said now the brokers have this whole thing, automotive brokers, which is not insurance brokers, by the way, it's automotive brokers.
Yes,
right?
yes, yeah. Common
So tell me a little bit about that.
misperception of what we do is auto insurance. No, we actually just are here to
Right.
broker deals for customers.
Yeah. So tell me that whole new thing that's going on now with it.
So you're referring to as far as like the whole brokerage concept or the
Yeah, the
auto
whole
broker business.
mortgage concept
So
and
yeah,
that law, the law
look,
too we talked
the
about.
governor signed a bill into office December 21st, 2024. It went into effect June 19th, 2025. That no dealer can operate or broker a deal with anybody that's not licensed in the state of New York. And legislation is already a memo was sent out even in New Jersey. So this concept of the middleman in New York has become a professional model, right? You can go and it's called the auto broker business. You can go get a license. You have to have a license. You have to be bonded. You have to have requirements by the state and by the DMV. As a brokerage. But what that's created is really amazing because what that's created is just like the way that you have real estate agencies, right? The real estate agency is the legal entity that's going to be able to do the transaction of your property. In the same respect, the auto brokerage is now able to do that transaction, for your automobile. And where I've always working at any dealership that I ever worked in, right? You've always been constricted to spending time inside the dealership. Today, as a broker, I'm outside. I meet and greet people, within my community, within my neighborhood. I'm able to serve them. They know who I am. I know who they are. We smile at each other, and we're able to do business, over and over and over again, all because I'm able to be outside as opposed to being restricted, in the confines of a dealership. And I'll tell you this, right? Any dealer that is not working with brokers today, well, I would imagine it would be a missed opportunity to be able to meet more people. Those same people, like you said, are getting their cars still serviced at the dealer, right? Statistics of fixed operations after a car is sold within a PMA is still real. No broker, is servicing a car, right? But the customer is still getting their car, serviced, through the dealer. So obviously, you want to be able to maintain that relationship. And if that customer doesn't want to, go through the sales department, well, wouldn't it be nice to be able to have, a broker business within your dealer model that you can say that, here, now I have an opportunity to talk to more of my customers, more of my PMA, more of the people that serve me in other aspects, right?
Well, what really has me where I'm bringing in more brokers, you'll see more in the next few weeks, more and more from all different parts of the country, is that I'm interested in really, really important what their process is in sales. We're going to take a break and we'll be right back, okay? And go over that.
We continue to show dealerships across the country how to retain their customers. But now Shop Smart Autos wants to bring the new customers right to your showroom floor. The car they want? It's sitting on your lot. And Shop Smart Autos can bring you the VIN-specific leads that take them straight to your door. These aren't just leads. They're nurtured, targeted, and matched down to the exact vehicle. You'll sell more cars faster, and your team is going to thank you for it. Shop Smart Auto's VIN-specific leads. Let SSA show them the way to your showroom floor.
That's really good, this conversation, where it's going. The sales process that I have noticed from the customer before they shop, okay? The customer does one thing. They check everything out. As they're doing the lead, and that lead, I send it to you or to whoever, and you respond back with either AI phone calls that we have, but you also have it too. You do a very good job with it. All right. With following up the customer with the AI agents. You know, what happens with that process, guys, is that customer looks at the dealership's review, but looks at your review. And why is the broker's review that much higher than automotive dealerships?
Yeah. I mean, I could tell you, the concept of reviews today in the digital world is everything. I mean, people do homework before, even, you call it homework, right? But in their mind, they're thinking about going for a car. The next thing they do is they're going to Google, anything about the car. And then, everything about you, about people surrounding you, or surrounding them, I should say, really, as far as who services them with the car is going to be up in their face, right? You know what I mean? So it's going to mean that you have to have stellar Google reviews. You have to do right by your customers. And when there's a lot of pressure coming from the dealership model to operate today, it's super expensive to operate a dealership. I can't only begin to tell you, why there's so much pressure, from every which way working at a dealership. But the brokers themselves, they're happy people. I've never met a broker that's not really like loving life, or they get to do what they love. Most of them are not, are not a lot of brokers never really even worked in a car dealership, to be honest with you. They just got into
a whole
business.
different perspective.
Yeah, they got into because they have a network of people, and then how do I serve my network of people the best? Well, let me sell them a car. It's very simple.
The brokerage world seems to be getting it a real clear picture to the customer, and the customer knows. What I've noticed is the customer knows they're going to pay more money for the car. So obviously the customer is perceiving a value.
Yeah.
Because if you can buy a car from a car dealership at a cheaper price, and I go to you and I'm willing to pay more, obviously me as a customer, I see a value in you. And what do you think the difference is between that and you and what you do? How does that, because everybody's about price, everybody has a budget. Why would somebody in their right mind go to a broker and pay more money? What is servicing are you giving them?
I mean, I could tell you, the majority of our customers really are calling us because they want a discount too. You know what I mean? And that's okay. The 3 things to sell a car. My other book is 5 Words to Close a Deal. Let me show you how. A great closing book, really and it's just very simple. Be on the same page with your customer is the whole gist of it, right? But being the broker, now I can just really just dial in, be on the same page with my customer, be on the same page about, where they see value. I mean, like, look, if value exceeds cost, that's a good deal, is it not?
Yeah,
absolutely. So if I can, and most of our customers that currently lease their cars, they've been to the dealer. Brokers, the whole concept of broker is still relatively new for most consumers. So they've been to the dealer and they've dealt with the hassle of, the 3-step process between the BDC that's supposed to get you through the door, the salesperson that's supposed to close you on the car, and then the finance manager that's supposed to add more profit to the deal. The customers know what's happening. They've been through the model over and over and over again, and they go in begrudgingly. So, again, that birthday, that special occasion that once was special, how do I avoid going to the dealer, still make it special and get the car that I want? I still like the car, right? Well, now, with the brokers, they found that way.
Well, it's really interesting because what I'm seeing is an opportunity for our company, which is Shop Smart Autos. But the biggest opportunity is dealers need to pay attention to really, right now, according to Automotive News, not me, according to Automotive News, your average days in the cars is 75 to 80. I mean, some people say, well, that's not true. I don't have any cars. Well, if you don't have any cars, you got a bigger problem than that. Because then the allocation is not going to you, okay?
Right.
So then you got more of a problem than just inventory, right? So I mean, the word is out there through automotive news, through a lot of data sources that we all get information from, that the inventory is on a scale on the upside, right? Which that only tells me that supply is not in demand. What is in demand is customers.
Correct.
Okay, that's all that tells me. So the it shifted a little bit, right?
Right.
Supplies in demand, and everybody was good. Now supply is not in demand. Now customers are in demand. So it's much harder to create a customer than an automobile, right? It's
No,
much more
absolutely.
difficult. When
I
you
mean,
don't have new car inventory, you go to the auctions, you buy used car inventory, and we know what to do with that. But not every dealership knows what to do when the consumer's in demand. Okay. That's where the problem is. Now we got a problem. So solution, boom. We have a lot of different marketplaces. We generate a lot of leads, and those leads are going into whoever. And with dealerships, we're seeing a different kind of return versus the brokers, right? With the brokers, we're seeing a much better return, even on the AI, SMS, whatever. You're doing a great job with that. I mean, it's amazing the kind of job you're doing. I mean, I'm really impressed with what you're doing. And that's a great job that you do with that, and explain to me how that is,
sure.
like
So,
what changed, what shift in the last 2 years, or even while COVID, and now what's different with these brokers? Why is that?
so I can tell you, like, a lot of people that were in the car business quietly left the car business. Very simple. These people that either these were professionals that were sales managers, salesmen, general managers, all levels, even owners, that sold out, left, did other things, and the reason for that was just they lost money. Year over year, they made less. And a lot of the catch-up game, right? If you were making more and then spending more, and then now you're making less and still spending more, well, now you're feeling choked. And a lot of people just couldn't bear it. They left, and now they found a better way. I could tell you that, for those that left, we have auto sales coaching. Auto sales coaching is a platform that we developed for all those people that quietly left the industry, where now I don't want to be able to, I do other things now, right? Well, or I still even went to go back to the dealership and I still have a job or whatever it is. Okay, no problem. Auto sales coaching is the platform that's going to give you the opportunity to bond your book of business, join a structured system, and have a community that's going to be able to broker deals with you.
That's kind of interesting. So the brokerage situation came in to this automotive sector, always been there. But, I remember like 8 years, like '08, '07, '06, '05, '04. I mean, all these years with brokers were there, but it wasn't the same as it is now. And I'm seeing dealers, some of them are happy that there's brokerage, they're doing that business with you. You have, I mean, a lot of dealers in your house, right? And
Yeah.
this other broker that I do business with also has a lot, and the other one in Florida does a lot with a lot of dealers. So a lot of dealers are okay with it, and some are not. And if I'm a dealer, I would be really thrilled about it, that I have another outlet where I don't have to generate the leads. I don't have to generate the sale. I don't have to generate anything. But meanwhile, you got a car deal sold. And what's in it for me is I can capture that customer based on service.
Correct.
I can invite that customer into my
dealership.
Right. I can invite that customer into my door back in. Either we're doing owner clinics, I mean, every dealership, I believe, they don't do that. only in certain parts of the country do that. They're serious with service. They do service clinics, right? Every 30 days, they invite those customers in to
And they
meet
must
this.
get a lot of conversion for it.
Yeah, that's a perfect opportunity for me. As if I'm doing business with you, I want a list of all the people you sold under with my cars, and I'm going to capture those people back in, because service today, fixed ops is a business very big. You got warranty, you got recalls. Trust me, you want to talk to every customer that got delivered.
Correct.
You know, so that's a tremendous opportunity if this is done right. Right? Wait, I'm saving this hassle with consumers, with this, that. My reviews are going to get better, not worse. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now I'm less busy. I'm eliminating that part. So my reviews are going to jump up, skyrocket. And I still have a business. So, I mean, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, the only thing is they're not, really the customers I deliver, but what does it cost you to deliver a car today? As a dealership, $1,600.
A tremendous amount.
Right.
Absolutely.
So that's what the cost is today. Meanwhile, dealers, you need to pay attention to this. This is a pretty good process. What is the negative? I don't really see a negative.
I mean, the dealerships that I see that are, pushing metal with their broker partners still have the opportunity, not just with fixed ops, but also have the opportunity with all the banks to be able to finance used cars, right? And
right.
As I check, there's profitability in used cars, right?
The only thing is, do I get holdback? Yes, I still get my holdback. Do I get co-op? Yes, I still get it. I mean, floor plan assistance, some franchise have it, some don't. You got to forget a roadmap. Do I get that? Yes. What do I get? The objective? Do I get my bonus at the end when I deliver the car? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
So I get all these numbers to my dealership. It counts with me as I'm delivering the car. Is there anything illegal about that based on the franchise agreement? I don't know what to say about that. Honda is very strict with that.
Sure.
Toyota is not that strict. That's why they're the number one selling cars.
Amazing, right?
Yeah, they're the number one selling cars because they have a very big fleet business. So
some people figure it out. Some, will figure it out.
If you take Toyota's fleets and all the stuff that they do at a wholesale level for new cars, and you put Honda at what they're doing based on their franchise, right? Franchise agreement, what you should follow and not follow, because you could get in real trouble, versus Toyota. If you take those two out, Honda is right there with Toyota. But Toyota always announces number one for years. Well, that's why. Because when you rent a car, you're renting a Toyota. Yeah. Or wherever you go, it's a Toyota. So, I mean, it's of course going to be number one. So Honda, I don't know if they still are able to, fleet cars. I don't know what the new franchise agreement was. I know when I was with Honda, I was on the franchise agreement at one time, so I know more or less what that's about.
Yeah. But even with the OEMs, there's really, you have electric models, electric makes that created seamless processes, namely Tesla. Tesla created a seamless process that consumers are still flocking to, day after day after day. Stop the process, stop the friction, redo the model that is outdated. The broker model is only growing and growing exponentially.
Right. That's what the whole thing is. It's like the model that is today was not the model that there was.
Yeah, the model that was yesterday, was a great model. I could tell you, I talked to an old buddy of mine that ran a Cadillac dealership, in the city in the 80s, saying that, you had to pay $5,000 to go work at this dealership, and they were making money hand over fist. Today it's a completely different model, but they're still operating as if it's almost, the same model from the 50s, 60s, even in the 80s and 90s. This is not what it is today. And I don't know about you, but I'm focused on selling to the next generation, because it's the next generation that's going to be up and coming. And, if the name of the business is still adaptivity.
Well, obviously, I've seen the difference, right? Because I go to history and I go to the present and I focus on the present because that generates the future, right?
Correct.
So obviously, I see that from a review standpoint, you got great opportunity, right? From customers being happy, you also have a great thing happening, because we have our follow-up system and all that, and we're seeing the difference. And with your AI is amazing because we have AI, and the stuff that we're getting, the data we're getting from you is crazy. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
wow, these customers are really, really happy with the process. So you're only going to scale better and greater. And the automotive sector is still going to be around forever. It's just going to be for the new generation, what the future might call, I don't know, but the newer generation is going to start doing things a little different because they are different.
Oh yeah,
They
I can
are
tell you
very different.
the
And
technology today.
just to say something here,
Sure.
the newer generation, everybody thinks they use ChatGPT. The ones that use ChatGPT are the people over 40. I don't even consider that AI, really.
Yeah. If you're just using it as a search engine.
Yeah. There's so many different AI platforms. Yeah, ChatGPT was good for what it did at one time, but ChatGPT became like a search engine, became like Google, because everybody is, whatever it is. It's a whole different world now. There's so many different. Google came out with their own version of AI for developers only. Okay, so we can write code on there. We can do miracles on this machine. Okay, and there's so many different AI platforms that have to do with databasing, have to do with all kinds of stuff. So the evolution is different, and these kids have a whole different type of perspective. I'm around the younger kids a lot, and I see the kind of AI they use. They don't even use ChatGPT. That's like, that's so
there's so many different tools on the market today. Where do you start? Where do you, what do you, but the question then is like, what are you trying to accomplish? I can tell you, nyAutobroker.com, we do have a great, we have 7 AI employees over here that really handle the customer very, very well. I'm constantly reviewing processes to make sure that our AI is always getting better. But for those, again, kind of going back to automotive sales coaching, for those that need that modern day platform, well, you need a structure. You need, to operate as a broker, in transition, or if you're still like that broker that's operating out of your notebook, or, well, there's better opportunity right now. There's better technology, starts at autosalescoaching.com. Autosalescoaching.com, by the way, is not just a training platform, but it's real structure, real, software, real, compliance, right? Real everything that's required to transition into becoming a broker. Well, we created a really nice path for you to transition without quitting your job. But now you can transition. And then if, by the time you want to quit your job and say, well, look, I'm still not ready to open my own. Well, we have the pro level is really meant for those people that, if you're a sales manager, a finance manager, or you just structure deals for a living. Well, we have this, we have a platform that you're going to be able to operate professionally with everything that you need, within a very structured system. Autosalescoaching.com. Yeah.
Well,
Sorry.
What's interesting. What's interesting is before you said something that I find it to be true. Like, you came from the car business.
Yeah.
But the guys that we have did not come from the car business, and they're rocking.
Mm-hmm.
They came from
How
other
is that,
districts.
right?
They came from the financial district. We got a couple of brokers that came from the Wall Street era. You
Yeah.
know, the whole younger people that have a whole different perspective, non-car business. You're the one that we have that you've been in the car business for a long time, you know?
Yeah, but
Like you
I
were
can tell you, I was an architect for a long time as well. I have a degree in architecture. I'm on my third life, and from car sales to brokerage right now. But in today's world, you hear that college grads are not getting hired, and the people out of high school are getting hired. Why? Because they understand the technology, and the employers don't want to have to pay for your graduating university requirements. I mean, nobody needs that right now. We need to be able to work efficiently and understand, the opportunity in front of us.
right. And right now we're seeing opportunity from a marketplace perspective. I'm seeing opportunities. We're generating a lot of different types of products, not only lead generation for brokers. We're developing, different product lines to drive that traffic to your location, to actually put the customer in front of you. Boom, perfect match.
Amazing.
Right? So we're happy. We're blessed that this new thing that's happening, it is definitely scaling.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
saying that, I'm going to go to a break.
Before you spend another dime on marketing and advertising, inspect what you expect. The SSA VIN retention report from ShopSmart Autos is the answer. Do you know your retention status? You might be losing hundreds of customers a month, but what if you could keep just a few more? Each retained customer means thousands in revenue, adding up to millions per year. The SSA VIN retention report is the inspection tool you've been looking for. Find out what you're missing before it costs you.
And we're so thrilled and so happy because we're seeing at the end of the day, we care, yes, about the dealership, yes, about their ROI, but we also care because we are a marketplace. We also care about the customers, because if I send now customers to a dealership and he doesn't convert, it makes me look bad too. It makes the customer, well, they're going to stop shopping me then, right? So people that sell cars are the people we're interested in. And this conversation that these dealers have, I sell these dealers too, some of them leads and all that, while COVID, they couldn't convert. Well, they couldn't convert because their sales team don't call. I mean, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. But no conversion, it makes ShopSmart also, from the dealer perspective, look pretty bad. But from the consumer, I'm going to stop going to this site because it's a waste of my time, right? So it's two things. Of course, the dealers only care about what's in it for them, like always. We all know that. Right. But now you got a consumer problem that went into a website. It's hard enough to pull people into a website, get a conversion, right? Get a conversion, generate that lead, sell it to a dealer, and now it doesn't go anywhere, right? So, both people don't like it, both parties. So with this brokerage situation, it's so much easier. I can't tell you, I don't get that kind of headache. I don't have that problem.
When I first, my beginning of the car business, I actually had to wait 8 hours for my interview on purpose. After I was hired through this begrudging process, I was hired under probation by working 30 days straight. And this was, the initiation to the car business, right? You work day and night, hustle, get to the end of the month, make your month, yay. And then the first of the month, do it all over again. You're behind. That sucks. And,
Right.
the whole concept of trading time for money, it's part of that whole, AI technology, new post-COVID, whatever you want to call it, world. And, the people that are working in these brokerages or making the shift, right? And which is continuing. It just, the governor just signed this bill into office, a year and change ago, I mean, it's nothing, right? But imagine, right? As a growing industry, the auto broker business, the people that are going to now not have to, they're going to realize that they don't have to spend 70, 80, 100 hours at the dealership anymore, and now they can go to their kids a sporting event, they can go to their their vacation, they can go the Black Friday and make deals from really from almost anywhere. Why is this this should be the way? The people that are happier brokering are going to mean the customer is going to be happier. Everything is going to be happier. And don't forget the relationships that these brokers have with these participating dealers. They're real relationships. You have your, I'm sure every broker has their few that they favor, but these are real dealers that push real numbers, that are within our real community, that still care about things like CSI and fixed ops and everything else. And this is where the shift is going to happen, where instead of you walking into this dealership where it's this desk opposing, I have to go get the manager kind of environment, it's just going to be more of this distribution hub of my car is ready, I'm just here to pick it up and call it a day.
And let me ask you something. If who's ever watching this, if some of these kids that are selling cars now in dealerships, somebody reaches out to you and tells you this, hey, how much money do I have to start this business? How much money do you need somebody? How much dollar amount do you need somebody to become a broker?
So I could tell you, to start your own brokerage, it's not cheap. You do have requirements of your license, of your bond, of your facility, of everything, right? You have to have certain compliance that is required today.
Right.
Result of that, obviously, if you're looking to leave the dealership, I wouldn't just leave. The opportunity that you have at Auto Sales Coaching means that it's really encouraged for you not to quit your job. Like, honestly, just don't quit your job. Come join Auto Sales Coaching. Let's get you started. If you're in a position where you want to become an independent, broker right away, well, with Auto Sales Coaching, we have that program too. But it's going to be.
How much does that cost? Like, what do you got to lay out to become an auto broker?
To become an auto broker, it's going to require you to have $100,000 bond. It's going to require you to have your license. It's going to require you to have you have to have a facility. The facility alone is going to cost you, the rent, the insurance, the bond, everything. Thousands of dollars.
100,000
cost you tens of thousands of dollars. Absolutely.
Hold on a minute. To start a business, the 100,000 is not a lot. A bond that is.
I mean, look.
So what do you need? Cash. I'm talking to you about hard cash, because a bond of 100,000 it equals 10,000, right? That's what you got to lay out.
To lay it for a $100,000 bond. How much is a $100,000 bond?
Yeah,
the $100,000 bond is typically about $1,000. It depends, where you're getting it from, obviously, right? But it should cost you about $1,000 per year.
Okay, so that's the whole thing. It's really not a lot of money for you to start a business that you can scale. So how much is the investment that you have to lay out as a business person? Like, I know what an investment is for a new car dealer and a used car dealer. To lay out, how much money do you need to lay out to become a broker?
I mean, I can tell you it's going to be a fraction of the cost that it would for you to become an owner operator of a dealer. And the owner operator of a dealer, if you do like the 20% model, you're still coming up with millions of dollars, right?
Right.
Depending on the facility. And that should be, if you're professional, if you're looking to aspire to go all the way in this business, well, it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you tremendously. And as things change in the world, where things become more expensive, the brokerage model is tangible. It's very tangible. If done the right way.
There's more brokers than new car franchises in the United States.
Oh, that's a fact.
Just to let everybody know, we have the data. There's more auto brokers than they are new car franchises. So
I mean,
that's
if we're
telling you
located here in Flushing, you know, there's that Honda dealer. There's only 2 Honda dealers, but how many brokers are there in the area? And we're located within our community, right? We see these people every single day. We're not like, you know, necessarily on Dealership Row, but everybody within our community knows who we are. Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't have to be a Dealership Row. You can work. You know, it's interesting, this whole product line, and it's really interesting how the consumer views it too. The consumers are very happy. These reviews of these brokers, I go broker after broker after broker. I mean, it's unbelievable the great reviews you guys have. The average dealership is right around 3.7 based on Google's numbers. You know what I mean? You're looking at brokers at 4.8. That's 1 point more.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's telling you.
That's big numbers too. Yeah. I mean, for a brokerage that to sell 265 cars in a month, you know, what are these dealers selling today? And what does that tell you? You know what I mean?
It's really amazing. Well, listen, Joey, it was a pleasure having you here. Is there anything else you got to tell the audience?
Oh, definitely. You know, check us out at autosalescoaching.com if you want to make that shift. You can find this book, you know, Fed the Store on Amazon. If you look up, you know, Joseph Youssef, or, you know, just come visit us at nyautobroker.com, see what we're about. You know, if you guys are in the area, love to stop by, you know, come chat. My cell number is there. That's a direct number to me. If you ever need anything, if you ever have any questions, I'm definitely here as a resource for everybody in the automotive industry. Thank you so much for having me, Richie.
Thank you, Joe. You're always welcome. You're always welcome to come on here anytime you please. And so with that being said, Joe, it was like a really pleasure talking to you. Very, very great way of making somebody have their own business. That's great. I really enjoy that. And I really appreciate your time today, and keep on doing what you're doing, because it really is working out for a lot of people. Thank you. And with that being said, we're back on next Monday. Thank you, Joey.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.